Matt, you want to lead us in the pledge?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Rob, you want to lead us in the prayer?
Yes. Father, thank you for this day, Lord. Thank you for all that you provide, Lord. Thank you for this country that we live in. Thank you for this township. And Lord, just help us to do the work that you assigned us to do, Lord. And just help us to be willing to hear your voice and just be willing to just do what you call us to do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Before we go on to, well, we got roll call first.
Trustee Rivera.
Here.
Trustee Bonomo.
Here.
Trustee Garwin.
Here.
Trustee Conley.
Here.
Supervisor Ballard.
Here. Can I get a motion from one of you guys to let myself and the clerk make a statement?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
So we're going outside of order of the agenda to do that, so.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays?
Okay, what I wanted to say before we start with public comment or anything else, we have people that are encroaching on our land. And it's like if you have your house and your neighbor goes in your backyard and puts up a swimming pool in your backyard, you're responsible for them swimming in your backyard. You can be sued. So we know about it. We have to find a solution, and we had the land surveyed, and we're putting up fences, and everybody on those properties have been notified to remove their stuff, and that's how we handled it. Well, the people in one of the areas over on the Paul farm, they approached me and asked me if I could work out something where they could buy the land and own it themselves and not have to move their stuff. And you know what? I don't want to fight with people about the encroachment. And they didn't do anything that was wrong, in my opinion. They just saw that there's empty land there and they were using it. And nobody really said anything to them, so they just kept doing it. And then, because of us finding out about it, we have to do something about it. If we didn't know about it, they'd still be there and we wouldn't even be discussing this right now. But we found out because of all that stuff that happened a couple months back. So I was approached by one of the gentlemen from the neighborhood, and he asked about buying it. And so we worked out, he came here 4 or 5 times, and we sat down to Carmen Morella and myself and Vicky, and we just negotiated back and forth on a price, and we came to something that we felt was acceptable market value, because that's what we have to sell it for. And they accepted we haggled, but we came to an agreement. And now I'm going to be asking the board to say it's okay or not to sell the land. It's 60 feet, and there's different prices. They vary from $14,000 in cost to 20. But it's 60 feet of land, and the width of the land is what determines what the price, because I think it was, I don't remember I have to look it up here. Do you remember the price?
Some was like 60 by 90, some were 60
I mean, the
by.
cost was
Basically,
$2.
we're going out 60 feet.
It was, I think it was
60 feet out towards the farm,
$2.50
and then
a square foot.
$2.50
A square foot.
Right.
Yeah, so the cost was $2.50 a square foot, and that's why everybody's cost is different. So me and Carmen and Vicky, we thought it was a fair offer, a fair price, and the township is not getting screwed. It comes out to where it falls into the range of what the market value should be, in our opinion anyway. The assessor is on the committee, so he would know better than all of us. So anyway, when we get to that section, people have been calling all kinds of agencies and whatever else about us selling that land. And I basically told everybody that I've talked to that it's in the best interest of the people in the township, especially the people that live there, that want it. And if they don't like it, too bad, because we have a statute that says that we have the right to sell whatever we want. And Vicky's gonna be reading that. But just so everybody knows, we wanna ask the board to vote on this later on in the meeting. But I wanted to be real clear up front so that when people start talking in open forum, and I don't know what they're gonna say, but people start saying you can't do it or you can do it or whatever, that's fine. But we will be voting on it, and if the board votes to do it, we are going to do it. And we have the right to do it by statute. Because I don't think it's fair to the people that live there that you tell them for 60 feet. That land is 56 acres. So you take 60 feet off of it and it comes out to about an acre. You know, so you're gonna ruin somebody's life for that because they're gonna have to pay to move a shed that's on there with a slab. It's wrong.
Or a pool.
You know, and I don't care what anyone says here. That's why I want to make it clear, because I'm not going to talk about this issue going forward. But I want everyone to know that when you speak, it's not going to happen. If this board votes for it, it will happen. Whatever, I don't care if you like it or you don't like it. If the board votes yes, we're going to do it. Vicki, do you want to read
Yeah.
that?
So after speaking with one of our constituents earlier today, I spent pretty much my whole day going over open space, what's basically from the township code. I also worked my way backwards looking at what was kind of passed in the past, what happened in the past to bring us to where we're at right now. And I did put out here, it was a newsletter that was handed out in September of 1998. It was basically a newsletter that was sent to the constituents, like a supporting document, to explain why they wanted to pass this referendum. Okay, again, the referendum was passed, I believe, in November of 1998. This was put out in September 1998. So I believe this was sent to all the homes. And if you look on page 4, it is double-sided, so it's like the page 4 of the double siding. You can see here where the postal customer one is. You'll see here it says all localities. Now I want to read that to you just so everybody kind of knows what was put out. This was put out by the township supervisor, Ron Savara at the time, and everyone on that board. So just to give you a little idea about what they had put out for the constituents in Homer Township. It was not Homer Glen at that time, it was Homer Township. So just a quote from this, it was Volume 1, Issue 3, September 1998 issue, Preserve Homer Newsletter. All localities are not best suited to park status. Some tracts acquired under the open space program may logically be used for residential or commercial purposes. Our township can, at any time, release, in parentheses, sell parcels which will then be used for the intended purposes. The monies from the sale can be used to purchase other real estate. Thus, an open space program will significantly increase the ability of Homer Township to control land use and development. So that was one of the supporting documents that I think is important to what we're talking about today. The second one is a copy from the Illinois General Assembly website, and anybody can just Google this. It's the Township Code for Open Space. And basically, in the first body, probably I would say the third paragraph here, a township, again repeating kind of what was said here, a township at any time may release a specified parcel of land from an open space plan and allow the development of the parcel to occur. So once again, these are kind of supporting documents which will allow us to take these out of open space and sell the parcels to the current landowners that are adjacent to the Paul property. And we just wanted to make that statement.
Right, and the other thing that everyone needs to know, that the Paul property and the Purdy property are zoned A1, that means agricultural, at the county. And they have never been zoned open space at the county. We went back in the records and we can't find it. The head of land use says, nope, the only thing that is zoned open space in Homer Township is the Trantina farm. Everything else is got, like the Welter farm is E1, that's residential housing, and the Purdy and the Paul are zoned A1, and that's how it's always been. So whatever we've been told in the past about the open space stuff, there is no records of it. So if somebody wants to go to county and try and dig something up and find it, because we sure can't, neither can the people at the county. So, just making it real clear, because every time we do something on that property, everyone's screaming about, you can't do it, it's open space. Well, you can see from what the clerk read, we can do whatever we think is in the best interest of the township with open space. And selling this property to these people from that neighborhood is in the best interest, in my opinion. And we'll find out real soon if it's in the best interest of the board. So with that, we're going to move forward to public comments.
Okay. All right, Gail Schneider.
I didn't know exactly the details of what you were going to be talking about tonight, so with that, I will just say, the piece that you quoted from the Illinois State Statute, that's about the open space plan, which is not the open space program. So it doesn't apply to the program, it applies to the plan, which is how the open space program was implemented. So I just want to be clear on that. I'm sad to hear that you don't care what anybody says here tonight, so I guess I'm appealing to the rest of the board and the public. So in 1998, Homer Township voters approved a referendum to start a Homer Township open space program. The creation of this program and how lands can be obtained and used is governed by Illinois State Statute Article 115, Township Open Space. In much the same way the Forest Reserve Districts are also governed by Illinois State Statute, the local zoning category of property does not matter once the land is in the open space program. Its use is governed by state statute, not local zoning. Residents of Homer Township then voted to borrow $8 million to purchase land for open space. The bond for the land was stated to be for the purchase of land for open space programs. For the program, 4 parcels of land were purchased totaling over 200 acres. They are known as the Walter Trantina Purdy and Paul Farms. It has come to my and other people's attention that the sale of some or all or of one or more of these open space programs is to be considered by all of you tonight. And while I do not know the details of the plans completely, but I know more now, I will say that the sale of portions or whole parcels of open space is wrong and goes against the spirit and intention of residents voted and what they paid for. It is also precedent setting to start selling off portions of land that people have encroached upon. The Forest Reserve makes people remove their items when they're encroached on there. I didn't add that in my letter, but I can send you an amended letter. Many people and some organizations are prepared to oppose the sale of Homer Township open space properties, and as such, this wrong move on your part will incur legal fees for Homer Township. I do have some questions that I hope you can answer. Some of them you got to a little bit. In what meetings has the potential sale of open space properties been discussed by the Homer Township Supervisor and trustees? Was this discussed in a plan commission meeting, a workshop, or a task force that the public could attend? And if so, where was the announcements for such meeting posted? Can you provide the dates of these meetings and who was in attendance? This meeting is the first that the public has learned about the potential sale of open space properties. Why have you not been transparent about the actions you plan to take on open space properties and allowed for the public to have input on this decision? Do you agree with the fact that the lands listed above are part of the Homer Township open space program voted into being by Homer Township residents in 1998? And I ask that because
30 seconds, please.
I asked that because I was told today that the land is not open space. Was the open space land you are considered by someone on the board? Or, yes. What are you considering doing with the money that you get from that? Are you aware that the land, and do you agree that the land was purchased with a bond for $8 million? Under what mechanism do you believe you can sell the lands? I think that's Ron Savara's opinion. I don't know that that's a legal position. How much money are you intending to sell the lands for? You answered that tonight.
Time, Gail.
And how much taxpayer money are you willing to spend fighting a legal battle to go against something voters wanted and voted for twice, as well as voted to fund $8 million?
Thank you, Gail. Okay. Sharon Swayze.
Thank you. I'm going to sit here because of my knee. But this, we did not know all the information. But my comments are regarding a portion of the sale of Paul property. Township properties, including open space, are public properties and definitely not the board's. You're planning to sell off a portion of open space property without public knowledge, and if you say it's not open space, then where's the verification? And maybe at that time, when you said, oh, a Trientina was open space but not there, maybe there was no coding for it, who knows, you know. But anyway, before this board takes any action, residents need to be notified via a public hearing or a workshop on what the heck is going on. Just because you may think it's on the fringe of being legal, it's definitely not right. If you did not do your due diligence on this matter, you're opening up legal issues against the township. What happens when someone, oh, now you say, oh, because they, you know, it's always better to ask for forgiveness. You know, let's put a shed here. But you know what? If we could do it on another property and we'll just go to the township and they'll say, okay, maybe you want to buy a piece of this other property that belongs to the township. I think a tabling of this action tonight would be the best thing to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Okay, the last speaker is Karen Worth.
I just happened to be home tonight and came to this meeting because I haven't been to one in a while. So I didn't even read the minutes or anything. I didn't realize what I was walking into. So take my comment with that in the back of your mind. I've been reading on Facebook about open space and all that. And I'm looking at the big picture, not the one that you addressed today, Steve. But when my husband and I moved here in 1988, the real estate taxes were really high. We both happen to be real estate appraisers, coincidentally. So we're pretty familiar with, you know, areas. We chose Homer because we didn't mind paying the higher real estate taxes to have the open space. So my only request before all this happened was that, is there a way that you can put your plans out there for us in an easy to read format? Because social media is not the place to talk about this. You know, we're all blocked and everybody else. I don't know what you're thinking because I can't read it and vice versa. So if there were a survey, a referendum, something before you decide to build or sell. And again, I'm not talking about 60 feet. I'm talking about larger parcels. So that at least we don't feel like we're left out of everything. Because times change. And that's it. That's the only request I had was we'd like more information, more notice, and if possible, some input, even if it's a town meeting or something, because I try to keep up with it. I'm busy like everybody else that has small kids at home, and you know, it's hard. It's hard to keep track of what's going on. But I don't want to see the reason I moved here disappear. And I understand progress, but still, I want to keep what we have. That's all.
Thank you, Karen.
Okay, we'll go to that was the last one.
Yes.
We'll go to the clerk's report.
Okay. I'd like a motion to approve the August 8th, 2022 monthly township board meeting minutes.
I'll start the motion. A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Okay. For the executive session, I'd like a motion, actually, for my personal opinion, I feel like to not release the executive session minutes dated November 23rd, 2021. But if someone else,
The lawyer said it too.
okay, upon recommendation of a lawyer, would someone make the motion not to release the,
Start the motion.
okay,
I'll second the motion.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Okay. And the same with the second executive session minutes to not release.
I'll start the motion.
Okay,
I'll second.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Okay. A copy of our audit report for Homer Township for the period of April 1st, 2020, 2021 to March 31st, 2022 is available for inspection, and a legal notice will be published in the paper. And then we did have a funding request. It's in your packet. It's basically the Will County Center for Community Concerns that is looking, and they service, they said this year, let me just look at it real quick. Homer Township residents, they feel for 2021 that they utilized 80 services at a total of $75,000 for our Homer Township residents. They are asking for an amount of $2,500. It would be up to you guys if you want to approve something like that or another amount. This was just a recommendation, kind of looking at past year's history. So, if someone would like to make that motion or deny the request.
I'll motion to approve it.
Okay.
I'll second the motion.
Okay.
Approve it.
I'll take a roll call. Trustee Rivera,
Yes.
trustee Bonomo,
Yes.
trustee Conley,
Yes.
trustee Garwin,
Yes.
supervisor Ballich.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
Okay, we'll go on to my report, and I can answer some of Karen's questions. First, we're gonna get a motion in a second so we can have discussion. Motion to approve resolution HT 2022-0912-RES1, authorizing the sale of real property. You gonna get a motion?
I'll start the motion.
Anybody second, please?
I'll second.
Okay. And there's discussion now.
Okay, the way this comes about is that we had a deal going before with the Welter Farm, and the cost of the property got to be too high, and the builder was nervous, and people were screaming, and there was not a lot. It was let out of the bag on Facebook before we got a chance to bring it to the public. So it wasn't one of those things where we were trying to hide anything, but it was one of those things where somebody went out and started talking about it on Facebook, and we never had a chance to bring it to the public. And it was a win-win program for everybody, except it did use open space for something that everybody thought it didn't, even though it was zoned since 2002 as the E1. That's residential houses. But you know what? That's done, and we stopped. And so then the question is, we had a referendum about 3 years ago that said that we were supposed to build an event center. And it passed. And the event center where we want to build it is the Trantina Farm. And what we're planning is a real nice event center. Instead of just putting a building, we're planning stuff that isn't competition to all the restaurants and bars with stuff like that. It's not competition to Donalfo's. It's going to be a outside event center. There's other places in the country that have stuff similar to this. You would have a pavilion. It's a nice sized pavilion. There'll be parking for, we'd like to have parking for 1,000 cars, but I don't know if we're going to be able to hit that number or not. There'll be 2 water places where you can look at water and feel real nice, because water makes you feel good, right? So you're going to have that. You're going to have a band shell. You're going to have a lot of, it'll be a real welcoming, nice place. And we're following what that referendum said. We've been asked numerous times about that referendum, and we didn't say anything because we didn't have the plan. I don't want to tell you we're going to do something and not do it. Now we're working on it. Right now we have a landscape designer that's been designing stuff. We're meeting with them, and we're going to meet again with them next month. And maybe next month, more than likely next month, we're going to be saying we're going to have a workshop about it, and we're not going to tell anybody about it, because all it does is go to Facebook, and all the people that don't like anything make up lies about it. So, instead of hearing the facts from Facebook, I want the facts to come from our board. So we're going to have a workshop, and I think it'll be November, and then everybody can come and see it, and I think everybody will like it. And that's the hope. Well, how do we get the money to build this? I am not ever going to vote to increase taxes on this thing, and my board is not going to vote to increase taxes here. We pay too much in taxes. So how do you get the money without raising taxes? You have to look at your assets and what you don't really need. And what we really don't need is a bunch of farms. There's nothing wrong with farms. They grow crops, and we need food. It's real important. I get angry at the county when we start doing all these solar farms and taking up all the farmland. We need farms. But in our case, we have, Carmen, it's 11,000 acres or 14,000 of forest preserve.
18.
18?
I think it's 1,800.
1,800 acres of open space
Forest preserve.
preserve in Homer. 1,800. We're talking about 2 farms totaling 140 acres. It's not a dent in that number. So we're not taking the open space away from Homer Township. And anyone that says that has to really think carefully about it, because 140 acres, and that doesn't mean if we sell this, it's not going to remain farmland. It just remains that somebody's going to have the opportunity to buy it and make an offer to do something with it, whether it's farmland or whatever they want, but it has to be rezoned. So the city of Homer Glen and the city of Lockport, they can say no. Township Planning Commission can say no. So just because it's sold doesn't mean somebody gets to do what they want with it. They have to go through all the zoning and all the codes and all the rest of the stuff. So you can rest assured that we also, just like I said, we don't want to raise your taxes. We don't want to bring warehouses over here either. So that ain't going to happen. So when we're talking about selling the property, we're talking about giving somebody an opportunity to buy the property and do something with it. But at the same time, there's enough protections from Lockport, Homer Glen, and the township that we're not going to let them do something that we don't want. Because we say no, and they won't be able to do it. So just so everybody's clear, just because we sold it, it's not done. Okay? Now, we currently rent the farmland for $265 an acre. And then we pay $1,846 for insurance and $2,865.98 for property tax. We pay property tax because it's being used to make money, so we have to pay the tax. There's 85 acres approximately at the Purdy. It's actually 84.46 or something like that, but we're going to call it 85 for round numbers. And 56 acres at the Paul property. Total of 141 acres for both properties. The revenue we get for both properties, $37,365 a year for 141 acres. You take off the taxes and insurance, and we end up with $32,654 profit. Not profit, revenue, I'm using the wrong word. So, now you gotta ask yourself, $32,000 a year revenue, that's pretty good. With the $32,000 a year revenue, can we build this event center that we want? It's probably gonna cost 4, 5, 6 million. We don't really have an exact number yet. So, event center, everybody in this room can use it. Everybody. Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, 4-H, block parties, weddings. If you want to have an outside wedding in a tent, you could do that if you wanted it. But most people aren't going to want to do that, I wouldn't think. But regardless, we can do anything that you guys want. Birthday party for your family, you don't want it at your house, you can rent a spot over there. We don't have a dollar amount that we're planning on renting this stuff for yet because this is in the infancy stage, but we will be coming up with a dollar amount so we can tell you how much revenue we intend to make on this stuff. So if you say we make $32,654 a year profit, and each of these farms is worth more than $2 million. So let's call it $4 million total, but it's worth more than that. At $4 million, it'll take 122.5 years with this revenue to equal what we can get for selling it. We will be dead, and our children may be like grandmas and grandpas. Why not use the money? That's why I'm asking our board to vote to accept putting all this property for sale. Because if we don't, we're losing out on something. This is 122 years to get a payback. To me, that's not using your noggin. So I want to go out, sell the property if we can. It's not going to be easy to find buyers for that property, especially now the way the economy is. But you know what, if we don't start offering it up for bid and saying it's out there, nothing's gonna happen. I don't wanna wait 122 years to make the money back. It's silly. Does that make sense to everybody? I hope it does. So with that, I'm asking my board to vote to make a motion, and I'm hoping they're gonna say yes, but I don't know. So someone wanna make a motion to,
We have a motion.
oh, we
have a
already did it,
second.
so then we gotta call the
Now I
vote.
have to do-
See, you got me confused.
That's,
That
I
was
wanted you to
Robert's
do it all
rules.
by yourself, Steve.
Yeah, that was by Robert's rules.
Yeah, so we got the motion, we got the second, we have the discussion. And if
Anyone?
anybody else wants to say anything from the board, then
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Are there any exclusions to who will buy the property, like industrial, no?
No, here's what happened, the conservation, people have been calling everybody, so I've gotten calls from, I don't even want to go through the list, but the way this works is that we're going to put the property for sale, and somebody says they're going to buy it, and they make an offer, and they put earnest money at it, it's like you buy a house. They put earnest money in an offer. Then we accept their earnest money in their offer, and then they go to buy it. When they go to buy it, whoever's going to give them the loan is going to want to know what they're going to do. And they're going to have to tell them. And when they go to tell them what they're going to do, then if the bank says, yeah, you know what, that'd be a problem, they won't get the loan. If they own the property and they want to put up, like we did have a event center that was possibly going to go in at the Purdy Farm. It was going to be like the Forge in Lamont and the Haunted House, would have been real nice. All right, if they want to buy it, there's nothing wrong with that. For even if the open space people say it's open space, you can't do it. Active and passive recreation is allowed on open space. So let them go to court and fight with the people that bought it. The township's out of it. We wash our hands. Because if we do something right now that's active and passive recreation, that's just one of the things. There's a whole list of things that you can do with open space. And that's assuming that it is open space. So, you know what? Let that be somebody else's problem to deal with it, not the township. Let the township wash their hands of it and let a buyer come and say they want to buy it, and they're going to understand, because we're not going to lie to them. We're going to say there may be a problem where somebody thinks this is open space, and if that's the case, it can only be used for these certain things. And there's a list of them, and we got the list. So if they buy it, that's up to them. But like I said, we'll never approve a warehouse to come in here. No way it's going to get approved. Homer Glen will object, and so will we. So they're not going to be able to put it in. Lockport probably object too. So there's things that we won't allow because whether they own it or not, they have to get approval for zoning and building codes. So nothing that we don't want is going to come in here. So you're worried about intrusive things. And the most intrusive thing I can think of is a warehouse. We're currently fighting with development of an industrial section on 159th Street that is an industrial. The county's talking about changing the zoning so a boat storage place can come in. And the village is against it, and so is the township. Our planning commission said no. The village's planning commission has to still get it, but I guess they met with the manager and the developer, and they said, no, we're not going to accept this. We don't want industrial on 159th Street. And if the county makes it commercial, but it's really industrial, we're going to fight with them. We're not going to stand back and let it happen. And it's the same with this stuff. We are not going to let anything bad come in. We live here. It's just like why I don't want to raise taxes. I'm selfish. I live here. You know, we have to protect everybody here. It's our job. And we will. So, I think it's time we vote.
Okay. Anybody else?
Just one more thing.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Mark.
No, I think, if I heard it correctly, the process, you know, a bid comes in, it's very lucrative. I would like to at least know that the board has a chance to
They-
weigh in on that bid.
We do.
Sure. Yes.
I didn't hear that, I heard the bank, you know.
Well, the planning commission, we have a planning commission, you're right.
And zoning would be involved in this.
Yes, so
Should
we-
be a
if we don't like the
decision.
zoning, we stop it.
I don't know if this helps or not, but you are putting it out for bid, correct? That's my
Correct.
understanding of the process here. So the bids will be open, they'll be public, you have the right to reject all bids
Yeah.
and start over. You still have discretion here. So you're authorizing the supervisor to kind of take the next steps and advertise this and start accepting bids. But if you were to reach a deal with someone, that deal, the contract,
Yeah.
would still come before the board for final approval. That's the typical
Yeah.
process. So something would be put on paper, black and white.
Yeah, and for transparency, I think you answered it. Bids will be public.
That's why he's a lawyer and I'm not.
They-
Not our website or somewhere, they will be public. So if the public wants to reach out to any one of those trustees and say yes or no, I like this, I don't like this, there's, at least we have time for some feedback and not a vote.
The bidding process that the township is using is in the resolution. It's consistent with the code that requires the bids to be open at a regular board meeting. So you have to give people at least 30 days from the publication of the notification that bids are being accepted to submit the
Yeah.
bids. And then you have to set the date that the bids will be opened. And you have some discretion there in terms of figuring out what's the best one, so to speak. But if you're not just taking the highest, there's a process to decide that. But
Okay.
you can reject them all, too. You still have discretion, and it says as much in the code and in this resolution.
Thanks, Mark, them are good questions.
I have one more. It was based on one of the public comments about, and the comment about 1,800 acres of forest preserve that's in the township. Is it possible the Forest Preserve District could be a bidder and buy this?
It's possible.
I mean, that would,
It's possible.
yeah, I mean.
But I doubt if they will.
Unfortunately, it's open bid, so they'd have to be the most.
I'll ask them.
lucrative or
Well,
decent offer.
we don't sell it less than appraised value.
Yeah.
So,
But you hear what I'm saying? It
yes,
stays-
I will
it
ask
stays-
at the Forest Preserve.
Okay.
I'm on
I-
the Forest Preserve commission, so
If you
I
would,
will ask.
and bring an
But,
answer to that, that would be great.
out of the whole county, we have the most forest preserve land in the entire county already.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're gonna be willing to buy
They
more,
might
but you
want-
gotta
they might
ask.
want more. Who
Can't
knows?
hurt asking.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? You wanna call the roll?
Can I ask a question?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so these bids come in. We're not necessarily taking the highest bid, we're taking whatever would fit best in the homeowner. Do we know ahead of time what they're going to be, when they put their bid in, do they say like, this is what we want to do with this land? Like, we'll obviously know if it's a developer coming in with a bid as opposed to a family coming in with it, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do we know that ahead of time before we accept it?
I don't know, would we?
I think you're required to publish this in the paper,
Yeah.
the notice that the bids are being accepted with this information you've been discussing. You can make, I think you would have the discretion to put, must submit plans, or,
Okay, thank you.
you can make it what you want.
I think that's probably a good
You-
idea.
Or you
Yeah,
can
we
say,
can
pick
do
up
that.
further information at the
Right,
township office.
because everybody wants to
and-
know what's going on with the land, so if that's the case.
Yeah, we could do that.
For transparency, maybe we.
You can establish a set of guidelines or minimums that you're requiring for people to be qualified bidders. If they don't give you that information, they're not a qualified bidder.
It's gonna come down to if Prologis is one making the bid, we're obviously gonna kick it out. If it's the people that own the forge and not, we're gonna listen to it. So, yeah, we
Exactly.
can determine which
Right.
ones we wanna entertain.
If you're guided by your discretion in terms of what you believe to be
Simple
best for the
process, yeah.
township, you have some in terms of accepting one bid. You
And there's
don't
stopgaps
necessarily
in
have
every
to take
step.
the-
I mean, we can
the highest
stop it
one.
at any point until the end.
And
You
as
can
I said,
also put restrictive covenants in the deed.
Right,
That's
then
right.
you would negotiate with the highest bidder, so
Which
it's
would
not an
a lot of
automatic,
subdivisions
it's
do.
not, you're not locked in at what the bid is.
Whoever buys it can sell it to somebody else and they can change the use.
Well, maybe you can,
But it still
you
has
deal
to be
with that
approved.
in the contract, right. So there's ways to deal with that.
If those properties are within the boundaries of Lockport, Lockport will have the jurisdiction. So you won't have the jurisdiction.
Well, like I said, we're gonna,
You're about 100 steps down the road, too. So
yeah, we're gonna we don't
That's what you guys are
wanna,
talking about,
we
100
live
steps
here
now.
and we don't wanna do anything to hurt anybody here. Because if we do, do you think I wanna hurt my own self? The only thing I wanna hurt these guys and the ladies on the board or you guys, forget about it. It's dumb. I'm not gonna, I will fight like hell if somebody's gonna try and do something to damage this town.
Like,
You know, and so that's just where it is, but, you know, we'll figure it all out. It's like, this has not been done here before, because we were all just sitting on the land letting it be farmed. Well, like I said, I don't want to wait 122 years to see a break even. You know, it doesn't make any sense to me. So, you know, we gotta, let's just vote on it. I think we killed the talking.
Okay, I will take a roll call. Trustee Bonomo,
Yes.
trustee Garwin,
Yes.
trustee Rivera,
Yes.
trustee Conley,
Yes.
supervisor Ballard.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. The next one is, motion to approve the bidding process to authorize, oh, that, we already did that. What the hell is, that the same one, Vicki?
I think we're gonna do that also, right?
The resolution, I think, outlines the
Outlines it,
process,
okay,
so
so
I-
we can
I-
skip
That's
on
already-
B.
yeah, I think
So B
that's
is
already
skipped,
included
sorry
in the
about that,
resolution.
yeah.
All right, sorry. Motion to approve the sale and price offer to counter offer in,
Or to counter on.
or the counter, in other words, motion to approve the, it's supposed to be 7 lots, because it's not 8, so it's a mistake, but motion to approve the 7 lots adjoining the Paul property. All buyers will pay their own expenses, including but not limited to surveyor, legal, and any other fees needed to permanently attach these properties to their current PIN. And basically what that means is that in order to protect the people that own the property, their PIN would be the same as the one they got after this is all done. Because otherwise they'd have 2 PINs, so they pay a tax bill for the 60 feet, and then they pay another one, and at one point or another, that could end up being a problem. So, a legal problem, not a problem for them, but a legal problem for them. So, to solve that problem, we're saying to put it all under 1 PIN, and that makes it better. So, can I get a motion to approve it, or you got a question?
Just maybe
Sure.
a statement this time. I don't know if this was on the website. I know
I
we
don't know, we
had.
put that in.
We did not, because this is something part of our packet that we're
Yeah,
just
no, I
introducing
understand,
to
but
you,
for-
and
Just to be clear, you said this over.
We're gonna
It's
put it back
Eight
on.
houses.
7,
7.
I'm sorry.
There's 8 lots, but 1 lot isn't going to be
Okay.
included.
7. Their addition, in the, past the dotted line, is 1/6 of an acre to 1/8 of an acre. So altogether, it's just a little over an acre. So you're taking an acre away from 58-acre property,
Correct.
avoiding the dispute of telling them to remove their sheds, pools, fire pits, whatever. Benefit to them, they like it, it adds to their property, it adds to the resale, they have a larger estate lot, they can keep their stuff on the property, and we all are happy, right?
To add to that too, is if someone gets injured on that property, we are legally responsible for that.
Right now,
It's-
it's not,
But once this transition is made, it's up to, it's the
Correct.
homeowner's insurance that covers.
we are still going to put a fence up, but
Yeah.
it'll be not where it is now. Now it'll be on the other side.
But we relieve ourselves of all legalities once the
Right,
property is
'cause
sold,
we
which
have to
I think
put-
is a bonus in itself.
Right,
We're talking
So-
1 acre.
yeah.
To
A
save
total,
le-
a
to-
total
to
of
save
1
legal headaches down the
acre.
road, potentially down
Maybe
the
a
road.
little bit more, it's not
But really,
exact.
it's not about anything else in my mind, is that I don't want to see the people that live there, I mean, they shouldn't have went on their property when it ain't theirs, but at the same time they did, and I don't think they meant any harm by it.
No, they didn't. Just-
So, it's our job to try to be like Solomon a little bit and, weigh it. And if you weigh it, I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, just one more comment. At the broader perspective, this board inherited this. I mean, prior administrations, I'm not picking on any of them, but this has been going on for many, many, many years. Nobody was monitoring it. And now we have a situation where there's activity on our property that if somebody gets hurt, the township is going to be liable for it. So, there's two options, the negative one, and I don't like that either, and a compromise. So that's really what it is.
Yeah.
Steve, can I just clarify, so which of the properties?
I think it's number one.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
It's the one
So
closest to
number
151st
one,
Street.
okay, just to clarify, lot number one?
Is that on 151st?
Yes, that is
Yeah,
151st,
that's
is
lot
lot number
number
one. Okay, so lot number one would not be part of this process. And so I will be changing the motion to, say, 7 lots as opposed to 8. So we have let me just make sure, we have I don't think we did a motion yet, I think Steve started talking. Okay, I'm sorry.
So we needed a motion.
We need a motion and a second to accept the proposal. It would be $2.50 a square foot. And that is based on market value for the area. It's not based on open space or
No.
large parcel open value. It's based on a developed piece of property, just to clarify that. So it's a developed piece of property within our area, based on that price. That's what we looked at for market price. So it'd be as if you were buying, let's say, a 60 by 100 lot, that's what you would be paying per square foot.
Well, I'll start that motion.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay. And I will take a roll call. Trustee Garwin?
Yes.
Trustee Conley?
Yes.
Trustee Rivera?
Yes.
Trustee Bonomo?
Yes.
Supervisor Ballage?
Yes.
Okay, so the motion passes. Okay, so then,
We're on number D, and motion to approve, not number, letter. The motion to approve opening the bidding process for the farm leases at the Purdy and the Paul properties. The Welter Farm has a farm lease that's in existence for 1 more year. And these farm leases are up for renewal, and we're gonna go out to bid for them because we don't know if we're gonna sell the property or not. So we're gonna pretend that we're not, and we're gonna put in the leases that if the property is sold, that then they have to work with the new owner, whomever that be, and they can either be told by the new owner that they have to leave, or the new owner could say, just finish out the year, whatever the new owner wants. The new owner might just say, I don't want to do nothing for a long time, so stay there. And that's up to them. But we have to go out and do that lease, otherwise, we don't know what's going to happen. So I need a motion to approve going out to the bid for farm leases.
I'll start the motion.
I'll second.
okay, I'll take a roll call. Trustee Garwin?
Yes.
Trustee Bonomo?
Yes.
Trustee Rivera?
Yes.
Trustee Conley?
Yes.
Supervisor Ballage?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
Okay, E is a motion to set up a Homer Township Liquor Commission, with the supervisor being the liquor commissioner and the clerk being the deputy. And what that's about is that we have no bars here. There's no bars in unincorporated Homer Township. They're all in the city, so there's nothing to do about that. But if we decide, we're going to talk later in this thing about the Trantina Farm. That was we did a pre-annexation agreement, but the village forgot to annex it. So when we were going to do a Italian Fest there for October, to celebrate fall, it turned out we had to go through the county, which wasn't much of a problem. They were real nice, but it threw us off in our timing, so we didn't have the time to get that done. So if we create I talked with our attorney, and he said that if we create our own liquor commission, that we can, in the future, we have the Paul property if we don't sell it, and the Purdy property if we don't sell it. And also, if it remains unincorporated, whoever buys it might want to do something like ag tourism or something like that. And if they want to, they would come to us and ask us for a liquor license, and then they would get a special use from the county. So that's what this is about. So it's just a way to eliminate some headaches in the future, and more than likely, probably won't even be using it, but rather than not have it, it's better to do it now that you know that we need it. So, I'd like to get a motion.
I'll start the motion.
I'll second.
Okay. I'll take a roll call. Trustee Rivera?
Yes.
Trustee Bonomo?
Yes.
Trustee Garwin?
Yes.
Trustee Conley?
Yes.
Supervisor Ballich?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, motion to approve senior committee for the following members: Carmen Morella, Ruben Pasmino, Jen Consolino, Dan Fialco, Rose Fialco, Matt Conley, Luann Garwin, Sherry Laha, John Walters, and Carol Walters. That's in addition to the people that we approved last time. And for some reason, there was an error in the thing, not for today, because we have a vice chair, and this Mrs. Laha was sitting right in the audience here. But her name was eliminated somehow in some paper, and they told me about it, and told Mike, how do you eliminate that? That's like a big boo-boo. But, you know, that's part of life. But that's the vice chair. And then, so now there's a big list of people on the senior committee. And we have decided that on these committees that we have, just like with other villages and towns, we don't want to have, the volunteers that we have are way more than we need. And we don't want to have people that aren't on the committee coming there and volunteering. We want to monitor, make sure that the people that come, we think are okay to be on the committee. So anybody that wants to volunteer to be on a committee, they have to, like the village, they have to ask to be on the committee and get appointed to it. And if they're not on there, that's it. But we're not going to have people, like we have people that are offering to make donuts or bagels or whatever the heck and bring it to the seniors. Well, we just can't have anybody from the town making stuff and bringing it to the seniors. Even if we know them, they got to be, we're covered by our insurance. And if they're not on our committee, they're not covered by our insurance. So I'm not going to let anybody just come in there and bring stuff. It has to come from people on the committee because they are legally on the committee. Nobody else is going to be there. That's it. You know, and we have quite enough people on it. And the main thing everyone got to realize, the township has as one of their main objectives why we exist is for seniors. And that's that senior expo, when Mike gets up and talks about it, it was a great job. And the village was involved with it, and we have a bunch of the village trustees on our senior committee, so that they're involved. We're trying to involve them also. But it's very, very nice to see such a good organization. So,
If you don't mind me saying, because you did mention Cindy's as the vice chair, and we didn't have a chance to congratulate her daughter being voted as Mrs. America. I'd like to make that mention. And the one thing about it, is she's bringing ability awareness to the forefront, not just in Homer Glen, but in the country. She's going to be traveling all over the country, and if anyone's met her daughter, I mean, she's amazing. And I just want to make that, and I think she deserves a round of applause for her daughter. I'm sorry. Well, I don't like it. She's the vice chair. Yeah, sorry, Bruce.
Good one, Mike.
Well, thank you too.
that's Cindy's husband.
Yeah, Cindy's husband, not Bruce, but Cindy's husband.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Okay, so we need a
So we need a motion to approve these new members to the senior committee.
I'll probably approve them. Oh, I'll second the motion.
Sorry.
Rob was first, and Mike second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? All right, motion passes. All right.
Okay, this goes along with what I just said. We did it before, last month, we're gonna do it again. Motion to approve that all volunteers for any committee must be appointed to the committee, and the only exception is for individuals that need service hours, and that is not any other reason that we don't know who's gonna need service hours. And so if there's some kids that need it for high school, they can come to us. They have to come and ask, and then they would come to Mike Bonomo or Cindy or Mark and say, you know, we want to have service hours, and they would have to kind of vet them to make sure why they need service hours, because we got to be real careful what kind of people, not that somebody needs hours. Heck, somebody could get arrested for DUI and it's the first time in their life and they screwed up, so what? So if they need hours, we could say, yeah, but now we got to know why, and we can be careful what happens when they come. But the idea is to try to keep everything where it's monitored through the township and everybody is on that committee or got permission, which puts the insurance aspect into it. So
One thing I want to point out about the volunteers and all, because there's been some questions and so forth, and everyone knows that when I became a trustee, my focus was on the seniors, and that's one of our 3 jobs as a township. And when I started the bingo, I could tell you Cindy and maybe who else? Maybe Cindy was probably the primary that stepped up and has helped me from day one and made it to where it's at today and got us into the expo. We'll talk about that as well. In terms of volunteers, as we went on, people came forward and you know, essentially volunteered to help. I work in the city, full-time job, I take time out of my day. She's helping her daughter raise her granddaughter and Bruce's granddaughter as well, and I'll include you. And she's taken time out of that to help and volunteer. That's huge. And then other people are grazing in. So you know, we have to delegate. Right now we have a great group of people, and in terms of volunteering, you know, primarily me being the chairman, it is my decision who gets on the committee, and then we vote and who in terms of volunteering. I have never turned down a volunteer that has been willing to help with any of our events. Mainly the expo, I had about 4 or 5 just instant message. We went through an evaluation and decided they were going to work out, and they came and they helped out. They volunteered, okay, and did a great job. One came on a Friday to help our setup and was willing to do anything, okay. And from day one, I've always posted on Facebook, if you want to volunteer, if you want to do anything, I always left it open, and nobody stepped forward. Some said, I'll do this, I'll do that, but nobody stepped forward. And mainly in the beginning, it was Cindy, okay? So I just wanted to make that clear to everybody. And again, I take a lot of pride in what I'm doing with this, and everyone knows my heart is in it, and everyone on my team has their heart in it as well. And that was important to me, to make sure they're not in it for any political gain or any sort of ulterior motive or different agenda. And again, I'm proud of the team that I have put together. Thank you.
And right now we have, I don't know the exact number because the other list is in the clerk's office, but we have about 15 people on the committee. So we don't, right now, we don't need any more people. You know, we're kind of like closed out because we have way more people than we need. And I think is it more than 15?
It's about 15 people, yeah.
It's right around 15. It might be a little more, but, you know, so right now we are perfect number because that way people can make it there and they work, they don't have to go every time because there's enough people to cover. So I just wanted to make that real clear that Mike's done a great job and, you know, that when he talks about the expo, you'll hear it if you weren't there. I see most of the people ain't seniors, but it's, yeah, I know you are. Mr. Fialco is a senior.
In a lot of cases, seniors helping seniors.
You don't know which one?
Okay.
Okay, we're still looking for a motion and a second for G then, for item G.
No, it's item F.
No,
G, we're at G.
For
Yeah.
service hours.
Yeah, for the service hours and.
Yeah.
I'll start the motion.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passes.
Okay, we have a new board and everybody's trying to learn all about what the rules are for TOI, Township of Illinois, we call it TOI. So they do every year they do a training down in Springfield. And so the clerk and I had talked about it with the assessor and Mr. Porfilio, he knows about it. So we thought it was a good idea for people to go down there and get some training more or less on different rules and regulations and laws and kind of get a better idea of what they're doing. So it's one of those things that I think we go this year, and I don't know if we'll go again next year or the year after, depends on what's going on in the world.
They just updated their manual. this
Pardon me?
year. They just updated their manual this year, so
Yeah.
yes. I
So,
recommend that.
Yeah, it may be a good idea next year too, I don't know, but for now, we don't really have a plan for this. So we're going to look for a motion to approve the pay for the hotel, mileage,
No.
conference, and $50 total food allowance for the township employees or elected official for attending the Township of Illinois Annual Educational Conference from November 12th to the 15th, 2022.
As long as the hotel's down to Four Seasons, I will start the motion.
No, you get whatever they give you.
I'll start the motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay. I'll take a roll call. Trustee Conley.
Yes.
Trustee Garwin.
Yes.
Trustee Bonomo.
Yes.
Trustee Rivera.
Yes.
Supervisor Ballich.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
Okay, the next one is a motion to approve the signing of the petition to annex the Trantina Farm to the village. That's what I said earlier in the meeting, that somebody screwed up over there, and I think it was either the lawyer or the mayor or the clerk, but I don't know, and I don't really care. But after they signed the pre-annexation agreement, you know, they voted to do it there. And then they never came forth with a annexation agreement. They accepted our pre-annexation agreement, which that's done, but they never voted to actually do the annexation. And now it's being straightened out, and they're gonna do it, and we got a copy of it from the attorney. I think we got it, right? Is that the resolution?
Ross, I think, sent one to
Yeah, Ross sent it. You guys got it in your packet, I think.
Yeah.
It's, but anyway, we got the new resolution, and we're ready to sign it if the board is. It's just, they're saying we get all the stuff that we said in the pre-annexation agreement, which basically says that we have a liquor license that runs with the deed of the land, so we never have to worry about getting a liquor license for any events that are held there. We we can get special use permits without paying for them. We just have to let the village know, hey, we're going to do it, but we don't have to go through the special use permit process and, you know, pay a bunch of money. Any variances that we need, if we do, but we're not, what we're planning to build isn't going to require a bunch of variances, because we're going to keep everything as in code as much as we can, so we don't have to do that. But if we do need a variance of some sort, it isn't going to cost the township any money. And there's a value in it to the village. There's a big value. So the Trantina Farm is now part, well, once they vote on it Wednesday, it's on the agenda Wednesday? No, next month?
Okay.
The next month, when they vote on it, the village will have that in the village. So the boundary, west boundary, will be the end of the Trantina Farm. So can I get a motion, or we already do that?
No, we're going to do it right now.
Okay.
I'll motion.
I'll second.
Okay, I will take a roll call. Trustee Bonomo?
Yes.
Trustee Rivera?
Yes.
Trustee Conley?
Yes.
Trustee Garwin?
Yes.
Supervisor Ballich?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
And now we got the Highway Commissioner's report.
Before I start, I want to, I don't know if anybody said anything about 911. You know, I'd like to take a moment of silence and recognize all those that gave their lives on that day and since that day to fight for freedoms for our country, foreign and domestic. Thank you. Okay, Homer Township Roadway District Facility build-out. The building build-out is going to be finished by the end of the month. We have some plumbing still remaining, some fire protection connections that have to be done, and the furniture has to be brought in. As far as the paving contract goes, it's nearly complete. We have some pond grading to do and some striping. Punch list walkthroughs with Landmark and PT Farrow are going to happen at the end of this month. I would like to have a ribbon cutting for the public, either in October or November, to show everyone off the facility now that it's complete and fully functional. We'll probably have trucks out there too for the kids, like the touch-a-truck thing that they have. I think that would be kind of a neat thing, to make something out of it. But that's to be determined. I have to route that through the township. The 2022 roadway program was a success in Forest Manor. Austin Tyler did a great job this year. They did everything on time, on budget, and we're looking to do the 2023 program next year of about a mile of streets. I'm going to do my annual infrastructure evaluation is going to be coming up the next month, and the lowest rated streets, of course, are the ones that are going to be included. Besides Forest Manor, we also got into an IGA with a Lockport to improve nearly a mile of Farrell Road, which the east half of which is Homer Township Road District. That has been completed. I don't know if anybody's driven on Farrell Road, but they just finished the section north of 159th Street. It was just finished striping. There's some temporary striping still there that they got to pull off this week, but that punch list is also going to be happening this month. As far as the 355 bike trail, there is a spur line on Gauger Road on the east side. There's still a lot of construction going on. They're way behind schedule because of the strike, but they're trying to finish that in this construction season. And lastly, over on Tamerlane Drive, we had the high traffic and truck issue that we mitigated with speed bumps, speed signs, and speed limit signs. And from what I've heard from the residents, they're thrilled. They said that the traffic on their street has been at least cut in half by the speed bumps. We put in a series of 5 of them, and we're going to take traffic counts next week just to close this issue, to make sure that we have something documented on the before and after counts that we took on July 12th. So if anybody has issues with the residential streets with high traffic or speeding traffic or trucks or anything like that, please let me know so I can address it if you're in the township. And I think that's everything I have. Thank you.
Okay, Cameron, you got anything?
Yeah, so we're in the process of our board review. So there's kind of a 3% process to object your valuation on your property. So we start with a soft appeal that's usually in-house. Sometimes we try to work with residents to get it lowered, or sometimes we find that they're low and we got to bring them up. And then the second process is board review, and we're in that process right now. County's a little behind because they have to enter all the board reviews and then process through us. Then what we do is we review, kind of give our case of what we feel if it's necessary, if they, they're fighting to get lowered, and maybe we don't feel that's the case, so we'll kind of do some comparisons. And then their final would be PTAB. PTAB usually starts right around January time. So we're in that process. It's a pretty heavy process. We're processing. I think we're doing about 40 of them right now a day. So it's pretty heavy. And we got 16,000 parcels in Homer Township, so that keeps us very busy. The Township Assessor's Office was over at the Senior Expo, which I thought was very well. I did a little bit of speaking over there to kind of give a high level on senior exemptions, senior freezes, what's coming up in the next year or two with homestead exemptions are getting increased to 8,000. Senior exemptions are going to get increased to 8,000. Those combined are 16,000 for a senior, which is very nice for them. And then I talked and educated some of the seniors on the senior freeze. A lot of people get confused, where people say, well, my taxes went up and I'm on a senior freeze. Yes, you're on a senior freeze for your valuation of your house. Taxes I have nothing to do with, so you can talk to those gentlemen about that. And that's just how it works. And once you explain it to them, and a lot of the seniors are really happy when they leave our office, and it's kind of nice to just touch base with a lot of the seniors this weekend. So yeah, thanks for that, guys. Always appreciate it. So.
And Carmen, I'm throwing you under the bus here a little bit. Not really. You're my friend. All right. Can you explain to everybody about what happens when you get an exemption to who pays? Somebody's got to always pay.
Yeah, so what happens with exemptions, and exemptions come they're all shapes. You got senior exemption, you got homestead exemption, which most all residents get. You got the veteran exemption, there's a disability exemption. What happens with these exemptions is the money's then, because we have to keep it equitable. So when those exemptions hit, let's say Brett Porfilio gets an exemption, that means everybody else's houses in this area kind of evaluates go up a little bit because he's getting the exemption. So it just kind of spreads the wealth a little differently. A lot of times when the governor comes down and says, you know, we're going to do $8,000 in a hometown exemption, it's just diversifying the funds across a larger scale, and that's basically what it is. So.
It's real important, because when you get your tax bill and you say, well, man, this went up. What he just said is, if you got half of your city is a disabled veteran who really deserve to pay no taxes, but everybody, the other half of the city has to pick up that half. And, you know, so when you look at your taxes and you say, what the heck's going on? Your assessed value is one thing, but your taxes, when we raise taxes here, you're gonna pay it, whether you do or somebody else does, but that money's coming in. I think that's the best way to put it. So the school raises their taxes, you know, and they can say, this is exemption, this is lower. You know what? They're gonna get their money, period. So that's what you really gotta know about taxes.
They levy $1 million, they're going to collect $1 million.
So when, like last year, we cut $267,000 out of it. So that was $267,000 that we actually did not take from anybody. So if you look at it like that, you can see that, you know, we didn't take the money, but you still paid a lot of money. So the other places, they raised their dollar amount that they levied. And so the way they cover it is they say they gave you a tax cut because the rate went down. So the only way that you don't get any more tax is if the taxes are from the taxing body, like us. If we cut the dollars or we keep the dollars the same, correct? We keep the dollars the same, then because there's more people moving in, then your taxes will go down because of that. But we're not asking for more money. So that's kind of about taxes, because people, it's confusing to people. That's why I asked Carmen to say that, because I have a lot of phone calls about that. So anyway, we'll go to the next item. Committee reports. The first one will be Homer Township Senior Committee. Trustee Bonomo, and Cindy Laha, and Clerk Bozen, and Rivera, and Shake, and Mark Darwin. I mean, we got a big giant committee. You know, we could start with Mike, he's the leader, and if anyone else has a comment, they can chime in after Mike.
I'd almost rather have, you know, if you don't mind, you know, between Cindy, Clerk Bozen, Rob, and you have Angel Shake on here, maybe make a few comments, because I'm going to be a little expensive.
Okay.
So starting with Angel, if you want to say anything about what you witnessed on Friday and Saturday. Well, Saturday primarily.
Yeah, it was really good for our first time. People were saying that it's one of the best ones they've been to. Somebody told us that they were this year, they were in one in Tinley, one in Lamont, and I believe they said Orland. But they said this is one of the best ones they've come to. So I appreciate all the hard work everybody did, because we had a lot of, it was a lot of informational stuff, which was really nice. That having Social Security there was a huge help. Having Carmen there was a huge help. People really appreciated that. And then there was some fun stuff for them, like there was health and wellness spa and the yoga and, you know, things that they don't really get out to do. And then they had a putting thing, so that, you know, some little fun stuff. But everybody seemed to really enjoy it, and they enjoyed all the snacks and all the pastries. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I appreciate everything that everybody did. It was really good, and next year it'll be better.
I kind of concur with what Angel's saying, that it was fun. For me, it was really fun to be there, to see all the seniors. Everyone was in a really good mood. Everyone was just like so happy to be there. The weather was amazing. If we would have had it on Sunday, it would have been like, oh no, you know, but it was just a great time. I enjoyed being there. It was work. I mean, setting up, taking down and everything, but it was worth it. It was definitely worth it. So thank you to everyone. Thank you to Mike. Thank you to everyone that did this. So.
And I thought it was, just like they said, it was
Yeah.
great, you know, and what I was looking at is I'm kind of like Goopy. I'm trying to make sure that everything is going smooth and we're not gonna get in trouble. And everything's like, okay, this is good, this isn't, I didn't see anything that got me nervous or upset. And I was real happy, and to watch the people from different walks of life get together and make it all come about, that was like a big deal to me, especially when I'm watching them work together like that. That's kind of what, because when you got my job, I got to worry about getting sued all the time. So, I didn't see anything like that. Everything was, like Vicki said, everybody was happy. And I was standing there all day, and I have a bad knee because I fall down it, and it's killing me. But my job was to pick up the chairs and drive them over there, not the chairs, the tables.
They did something was an important part of the.
Yes, I know Matt, he's next. He did like the bus. What I'm talking about.
Yeah, so I reached out to Superintendent Craig Choppy about getting buses from transportation from the school district. They were more than willing to accommodate us. We're going to get 3 buses to help out, and they did great and had no problems or anything with it. Yeah, it was a big success.
Well, Mark will have a lot to say about it. Let's get the small talk and everything going.
The one thing, it's a great example of teamwork. I mean, I've been in this township for more years than I want to admit, and I haven't seen the teamwork between the village, the township, the school district, the library. I said the school district, the businesses, all the local businesses and organizations, 58 of them, right? I mean, and the volunteers, we had a lot of them. Talk about volunteers and service hours. It was phenomenal teamwork. A month ago, I was in panic. Nothing was coming together. We had 20.
I showed 1,000 texts.
20 exhibitors, and we're worried about marketing.
Oh, we were shaking in our boots.
But and as everyone
right
knows,
next door, we were going a little crazy.
Everyone knows I'm a little stickler for detail, right?
Yeah.
Mike? And I ended up talking to Mike way more than my wife, and that's caused a other set of problems.
My wife thought I was having an affair. Never see a State Farm commercial. It's Mark.
And I was honored to
So just have some sentiment for my wife.
It's great. Super satisfying.
Rob,
I just want to say thanks to everybody who's volunteered, and Mike, great job of putting this thing together, and perfect person for the chair spot.
Thank you. And Mrs. America's mother. Val?
You're no longer a
I just want to say, what you said, Mark, and what you said, Steve, about coming together and working together. It was amazing. Everybody helped everybody. They did their job and past that. Also, I want to say, seeing this with you, Mike, go from a piece of paper, writing it down, this idea, and watching it grow and just blossom and then get to the point
We
where
talked about it in the beginning.
it was just amazing to see it happen, how people just jumped on the train and just came along and just helped out all the way to the end. So I'm so proud of that. I'm grateful to be a part of that, to be a part of the group that was in that made this happen.
And that was celebrities
So thank
I'm not
you
going to
for
really
that.
We got Jennifer next. We got Jennifer, Captain America.
Yeah, right.
Jennifer, you got.
Well, so here we go.
Mike, let Jennifer.
No, let Mike.
Well,
You got anything to say? You were on the.
Yeah.
No, you were all amazing.
How about Captain
Well, I'm
America?
gonna talk about
Mr.
it,
J. Rhodes.
Wait, Captain America's not here.
No, he's not here.
He's not here?
Where? He'll be here in a minute. He's gonna run out to his car.
They revealed his
John, you got
identity.
anything you want to say?
Yeah, I just want to thank all the seniors for coming out, because if they didn't come out, everything we did would have been for naught. I mean, the seniors came out in droves. It was fantastic to talk to them, bringing, getting the golf cart, bringing them in from their cars and taking them back. They really seemed to enjoy themselves, and I just want to thank all the seniors for coming out and making it such a great success.
Now about Dan and Rose.
It was so blessed. We had so much fun, and they were so grateful, and they were so nice. It was really nice to see them having fun while they were doing something and learning something. So they were very grateful for the welcome that they had. They really enjoyed it. And they said the coffee was really good.
The cake was good too.
Yeah.
Thank you for allowing all of us to say a little bit of something, but in my observation, similar to the fest, the way the village and the township worked together to make it a success, the same thing went with the senior expo. and we made a commitment to work together, the township and the village, and I've never seen a better example than the Senior Expo. And I did put something out there on Facebook. If I can I read it, Mike?
Yeah, I did like it, by the way.
I was answering some of the stuff out there, and I was so proud of us, so I put this together. I said, we, the people, to form a more perfect union of township and village, by the people and for the people of Homer Glen, with unity, compassion, and the promise to fix where we live, one soul at a time. And that was my response to all of you.
All right,
Okay,
Mike.
you ready? You ready for this? Thanks, Mark, for the note. Well, I want to start off again. When I came into this, we're responsible for seniors, so we came up with the senior bingo. And as we were going along, our first thought was we were having speakers come and talk, and we were talking about it. We'll have 10 speakers, then we'll do a little, at the Christmas party, we'll have all 10 of them lined up. We'll make it into a mini expo or whatever, a presentation. And then word was starting to get on, why don't we do something a little bit bigger? I'm like, okay. So it evolved into what we saw on Saturday. And leading up to it, like Mark said, we were nervous about vendors, participants, you name it. And we met a month ago, was it, at the library, and we had less than 20 people committed, okay? So we started pulling teeth and pushing, getting word out. As we got volunteers, they went out and started knocking on doors and going to businesses and all of a sudden we got into the 50s, and we're thinking, uh-oh, what do we do now? We got too many. So if we have 50 people walk in the door, it's one per vendor, then what, So 58 signed up, and we had some unmanned, but the manned ones, I would say there was about 51 manned ones. They were all on board. I mean, they were rocking. And before I get into, I want to say one thing about one of the, who was there outside of the volunteers that went to the expo? Anybody here that went to it?
I didn't see Jimmy over here. I'm sorry, Jimmy. You were hiding on me.
So one of our vendors, Totality of Care, brought a 360-degree selfie camera where you stood in place and the thing spun around and did its thing. So they went that extra mile. So they came back with, so I sent out evaluation forms to all the vendors to ask them for their feedback, and I would like to know what we could do better the next time, because there will be another one. I said, Homer Township Senior Expo was amazing. I love how you created more than visiting each vendor table. You all made it interactive and fun. Music, dancing, we had dancing there. Golf, Captain America, and he'll be walking to me anytime soon. Lizzie, and a 360 photo booth. The committee created something to talk about to friends and family. Your goal was not only a hit, but it was also exceeded. We look forward to providing service to your Homer Senior Committee, or community. So I thought that really sums up what we did. And my goal, and as I always do when we do the bingos and anything else related to seniors, I want the least amount of taxpayer money paid towards anything we do. And in the beginning, I was using my money, and I was asking for, from businesses and whatever to donate, to contribute money to pay for the food, to pay for all the other stuff. And one thing is, and I forgot to mention Cross of Glory, Dana O'Brien there. I mean, you can't say enough about it. She gave us her facility to run my bingo the second Tuesday of every month, no questions asked. Tomorrow. And we have it tomorrow. In fact, by the way, tomorrow, senior bingo, noontime, Cross of Glory, okay? And we've gotten to a point now with the senior bingo where we get about, what was our last count, 72? 71. The cash prize is over $30, and they get food, they get desserts, and drinks and everything that goes along with it. And it's a great event. And sometimes we'll bring in speakers and have you. And with all the, we had some extras, which everyone thought I was a little crazy adding. We had a magician there. And if anyone looks him up, I forgot his last name, if anyone wants to look it up. And he was on Channel 7. He was all over the place. He was at a bar two nights a week. And he was, if anyone watched it, he was amazing. He's one of those that, and he's known for, you can stand over him and how many balls disappear and you have no clue where it goes, or a car comes out of your head or whatever. You know? And my family, we own a restoration company and a janitorial supply company. And through the restoration company, we used this guy for our Christmas party, and that's how I found him. And who paid for the addition is the restoration company, of course. You know, so that took care of that. We had the putting contest, and Vicky's son was gracious enough to volunteer to work that booth, and it generated a lot of activity there. And they did a beautiful rendition, and the DJ played some background music. We also had a band there that a guitar player, and by there Ruben Esmino with Ruby Gavi covered the cost on that. So that in itself says something about the village businesses here. And again, that was second to none. We had baskets contributed, so our idea was we had punch cards where everyone that went to a booth had a number checked off, and whoever had 25 or more, it was put in a box, and we had 7 prizes, I think, or 8, pulled out of the box as winners. So as a vendor, you were guaranteed almost that everyone was going to be to your booth. I wanted to make sure that that was the case. What am I missing in terms of activities? Huh? Oh, and I will tell you, Rosie Rayners from Taza's contributed the desserts and the coffee. No small expense. She bought enough to feed 300 people.
Yes, yeah.
So you can imagine.
They were good.
And they were good. And the leftovers will go to the bingo, so nothing is going to be wasted, okay? Once again, no taxpayer cost. I want to put a big shout out to, huh? Oh, Linda Cohen came up with this idea when you walked in. It was a wallpaper of trees with little leaves, and we came up with this idea of writing down inspirational messages or notes on a little leaf, and it got taped up on the tree. I think almost everyone that walked in did it. So the tree was full of leaves. Pretty cool. And I've never been to an expo where that's been done. Linda Cohen, everyone thought, boy, with all these outlandish ideas and stuff. We did that one, and also we had on the wall different messages on a projector. Pretty cool. You know, it's showing past bingo events, inspirational messages and everything. And we had 3 bingo sessions there. And we gave out extensive prizes valued at $100. I can say things.
The roadie girls?
Huh?
The roadie girls?
Yeah, the roadie girls, yeah. Well, I'll bring that up as well. I mean, I'm getting a lot, because there was so much. I mean, we had so much going on in this thing. And I don't mean to keep talking, so I'll get to that and everything. But we had people contribute the prizes for the bingo, and it's $100 value, which that drew them in, you know. The DJ we had, he was awesome. The guitar player, and I forgot his name, was awesome. Jesse was awesome, and he plays around Lockport quite a bit. A lot of people have heard of him. Jay Rody and his family contributed 2 golf carts. We're thinking parking is going to be an issue. People are going to be having to walk a long distance. These are seniors. We set up 2 golf carts, and with Dan and who else drove the golf cart? John. John. Drove the seniors back and forth from their cars. I mean, how much better can it get, you know? And I know after the expo, when you were driving, you said it was a constant motion, and people were, and John will tell you, they were like shocked.
More were getting on the way out.
Yeah,
They were tired from walking.
Right, exactly.
So I think you have more passengers on the way out, huh, John?
So you walked into an event that had an ambulance, a fire truck. The library bus was there, okay? The sheriff's police, the fire department. We did have a gentleman fall. The fireman came running over to see what was wrong, and he said, I'm okay, and walked away. So that was done. But I gotta, I gotta say, well, a couple kudos, also the school district, 33C, Superintendent Shop, is that how it's pronounced? Shop. And Tim Russ. Tim Russ is the building and grounds manager, brand new to the job. I forget how long he's been there, for months, or 4 months, right? Shop gave us a green light, gave carte blanche. We had the gym, we had the library, we had the cafeteria, whatever you want to do. Sound equipment, everything. Carte blanche, we had a projector, we had everything. Parking, everything. How can you, I mean, how can you ask for more than that, you know? With Sherry Kozel next door with the library, we were able to use her facility to have meetings at last minute. She brought the bus. She brought in extra staff to work at the library so she could have people at the expo. I mean, again, how can you ask for more than that, you know?
Road District, BI rental.
Oh yeah. Dave Medina brought in BI rental to rent out tables. We rented out 50 tables, okay? BI rental on 159. Been here for how many years? We brought the truck back, dropped off the tables. He told Dave, forget about it. We'll take care of the bill. Don't have to pay. Right? No taxpayer funds going there either, right? So, and I know as a board, last month we approved, or 2 months ago, we approved $5,000 to go towards the Senior Expo. And I would be surprised if less than $1,000 goes towards it, with everything that we did. And we're talking, in my view, the best expo I've ever been part of or seen. The seniors had everything to do. And we are going to tweak it. Next year, we are going to blow it out of the water. I mean, it's going to be second to none. I mean, I ever reached out to Fox News, and they were this close to sending a crew over after I told them everything that we were doing. And they're like, what? Really? Yeah? You know, so we just need a little bit more time.
We don't want to leave out Sue Stalin.
Oh, that's coming because that, yeah. Oh, no, that's ours as well. No, I got it.
You had a line.
Oh my God.
Yep. So last but not least, Sue Stylen, okay? Works for the village. She's on the committee, events committee. She, again, it's a we thing. I'm not taking credit for anything. It was an idea I put together. Lee Iacocca put together the car. Everyone had to build it, right? So that was me. And you know, delegating and this and that, and having Mark pushing buttons and stuff, and her be there.
That's not what you said a month ago.
No, it's not. No, like Mark, we need more people. We need whatever. This is a failure. But Sue Stylen stepped up. Application, had her crew working. We'd call her at 7 o'clock at night. She was still at the village hall working on our committee, and they're working on the expo, and send out emails to all the businesses and did this and that. You can, you know, and some of the businesses I was a little disappointed with because they didn't want to contribute because you know they plainly said only the seniors. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm considered a senior in our book. And most of the people that have, some of the people part of the committee can fall into that category. So we were charging $50 a booth. Where are you going to get a $50 booth to be part of something that 150 people are going to attend? And by the way, that was our number. 150 people walk through the door and be able to sell them something. I think that's a given. You know.
What better advertising can they get anywhere than
That's
$50?
That's exactly right. Exactly right. And we're going to be talking about them. Like, look at BI rental. I mean, God, they doing what they did. I mean, anyone that rents in this town should go to BI rental. And I'm not going to push them. I'm not going to infomercial because of what they did for. I mean, look at what they did. I mean, it was a $450 bill gone. You know. And I'm not going to push for Ruby Gabi and Tazos, but they contributed as well. I mean, they're part of our infrastructure. They're part of this community.
Edibles.
And I forgot about edibles in Orland Park. Here I was at Gas and Wash. I saw the edibles van in the parking lot, and this is what I do because I'm in sales, I guess. He was inside with a shirt. I walked up to him and I said, "Yeah," and I said, "What would you want to be part of the expo?" We're going to call the order, please. Thank you. So I went up to him, I said, what do you think about being part of this expo? I handed him the information, everything. Was call my wife and see if she was interested. So I called her up and, yeah, we'd like to be part of it. You know, I gave her all tidbit. They came with a freaking freezer full of chocolate covered strawberries, this and that, whatever.
Bananas were good.
They were covered bananas. Yeah. So I gave them a little money to get started and everything, and you know, to give out some free stuff if needed. And then he came up to me about 50 minutes later. He goes, you know what? For all the sales I made, it's paid for the booth already, and then some. He goes, when are we going to do this again? Okay, you know. So I go, we'll do it next week. You know, you can come to my bingo. So he talked to me, maybe Mark or anyone else there, 5 or 6 times, coming in awe over just the flow of people. Does anyone know that there was a constant flow of people coming through
Vendors
there?
were very.
Yeah, and again, I'm not trying to toot, I mean, it's not my horn to toot, it's all of ours. And again, we got the village, we got the township, we got the fire, we got the Will County Sheriff. Everyone was involved in this thing talking about it. So, I mean, there's really not much more to say. But we are gonna do it next year. It'll probably be around, you know, we're picking dates the 16th or the 23rd. Because the mistake I made, it was close to 9/11, and that might have affected a little bit.
And the war reenactment.
And there was war reenactment and all this other stuff. But I'll tell you what, I'm a big dreamer. I wanted 300 people to walk through that tour, but I think if that was the case, we would have probably hurt ourselves more to help us, because this was a training exercise. But I'll tell you, we ripped those training wheels off after the first 15 minutes, and we were rocking. I mean, that thing was, I mean, couldn't ask for a better thing. And again, the vendors that were there, they were given their evaluations and they're given their input. We are going to take it seriously, and we're going to make little tweaks, little changes. And if our expo is not the best in the area, I would be surprised, especially with the hearts that are going to be put in it for the next go round.
Great job, Mike.
Okay, does any of the other trustees have anything they want to talk about?
I want to talk about it.
Okay,
And
well, good.
unless I'm not, Mark, I want him to say a little bit something about the expo, but 2 minutes.
Oh,
Okay.
no, I'm done. I've said no. But Steve, one
Okay,
thing.
then we
Steve,
got-
one thing.
Okay.
I thought all the trustees got a very detailed 60-plus page financial audit report. And it is extremely clean. And I just want to say all involved in managing the expenses. I mean, we vote on things, but I mean, there's people that really are managing the financials.
And you know, because you work for BMO.
In my 38 years of experience at BMO Harris Bank, I mean, this is a very clean report. It is going to be made public, is that correct?
Yes.
So encourage anyone in the township to go there and be proud. We are judiciously looking after your tax.
And I don't think you realize, you know, like the office staff that go through
No.
hound people for
And we
invoices.
forgot about that.
Right, right. But the report is worth reading. That's what's, thank you, Steve. That's one last thing.
We also forgot about our office staff. They worked their butts off. They all lost 4 or 5 pounds.
Oh, yeah. The one thing I forgot to mention too, I wanted to thank
Cindy,
Vicki and
yeah.
Cindy and
Yeah.
Patty
Our staff.
for their contribution, our staff. And again, I don't mean to, I'm sure I left 20 people out.
And I was fortunate enough to have
Huh?
assessor staff over there too, so.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we'll give Carmen his kudos as well. And Vicki and again, everyone stepped up.
And I think what we got to do is say, anybody that we forgot, we don't mean to hurt nobody's feelings, but we really appreciate everybody. We appreciate all the seniors that came and all the volunteers, and there's so many volunteers. You know, we tried to get them all, but maybe we didn't. But your name wasn't mentioned, you were appreciated. So with that, we'll go to the Plan Commission report. There is none because nothing came to the Plan Commission. And the Plan Commission is basically the entire board. And the Land Use Committee is what we had for the Plan Use. The Land Use Committee is Brent Perfilio, Carmen Morella, and myself. And we were meeting with the designer, and we still are meeting with the designer, for designing the Trantina Farm Event Center. And guess what, we've met with him twice now since the last meeting. And we've done changes and, you know, it's going back and forth. And we don't need a big committee for that because it'll only screw it up. So it's not really even a committee, it's more of a task force because we're calling it a task force because we don't know when we're going to have a meeting because you know what, you're going to have to excuse my language. I'm mixing terms that I'm probably not supposed to say. This is a task force. So when the gentleman from Landworks is going to meet with us, I call Brent and Carmen to make sure it's okay on that date. And it might be tomorrow. It might be in 2 weeks. But whatever it is, it's a task force. So we don't have to post minutes or post agenda because we don't even know what's going to be on the agenda. We're just meeting with a guy to talk about stuff. Like we met with David from the people in the back there, and he calls up and says, can I come tomorrow? All right, so then I tell Carmen, you gotta be there. You know, and I tell Brent, you know, I mean, and Vicky, you know, so a lot of this stuff that we're doing is not a committee, and I use the word committee, but I think I gotta learn to be more specific and say, it's a task force, and then we report what's going on here. So everybody knows, so it's not like sneaky, but that's what's going on. We met with the people from the Paul property, and we came up with something that we all agreed on. Then we brought it to the board to vote on. And the land work stuff, we talked about that earlier, it's gonna eventually end up in a workshop where everybody's gonna see it. But it's real important that you don't get it mixed up, because people start looking for, because I say committee and I really should have said task force. I don't want to have people looking for a meeting agenda, or because it ain't there. So, you know, I'm an old guy. I'm used to talking the way I talk, and sometimes I don't say it right. But so I think I clarified it pretty well. Okay, then there was one thing that happened when this week that just passed. Craig Shoppy from the grade school, I met with him, and we talked a little bit about the expo, and you know, he's a great guy, and you know, we got along fine. But he didn't want me to say at our meeting, I wanted to make sure I said it, and that's when I planned to say it, was that you know, when people were going to the school and complaining about critical race theory being taught there, and all the different bad things that, you know, most, not all, most parents don't want their kids to be associated with in school. He said that 33C from now on is not allowing the teachers to teach anything but facts. And so I said, well, what about a teacher that says, read a book about Columbus being a no-good bum because he had a slave or he killed an Indian? And Craig said, no, that stuff's not allowed. It's only factual stuff. Like Columbus discovered America in 1492. They can argue it was Leif Erikson, but whatever. It's all going to be facts there. He's going to try to make it so there is no opinionated teaching at 33C anymore. And I told him I would say it at my meeting. And so I'm living up to my word, and I am saying it at the meeting. So whether or not it happens with every teacher, I don't know, but the man is actually going to try to do his best to keep it where there's no opinions. Because they don't need to learn about, do they want to be a Republican or a Democrat, or do they want to talk about history and say that somebody from 1492 is a bum, when in 1492 he was normal, right? So, you know, we got to get back to normal stuff in our schools, and Craig really is making an effort. And he said he's having monthly meetings or emails going out saying, remember, no opinionated stuff. So he should be applauded for that, and I know he's trying. You know, so everybody needs to be aware, and Craig, it's on the video, so you can see it. Okay, then we need a motion to approve all payment of all bills for August 2022, Founders Crossing Bond, Founders Crossing General Assistance, Open Space, Park Developer Contribution, Park Town, Road and Bridge, and Equipment and Building.
I'll start the motion.
I'll second.
I'll take a roll call. Trustee Garwin?
Yes.
Trustee Bonomo?
Yes.
Trustee Rivera?
Yes.
Trustee Conley?
Yes.
Supervisor Ballard?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, there's no old business, and there's no executive session, so we need a motion to adjourn.
I'll start the motion.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thanks for meeting, guys.
She may have